And we're back to Other Voices, brought to you by Peninsula Peace and Justice Center. I'm your host, Paul George. And for this final segment, we're going to take a look at the upcoming global climate strikes inspired by a young activist overseas. And to talk about what's going to be going on here locally, I'm very happy to be joined by a young activist from around here, Julia Zeitlin. She's a student at Castellea Middle School and one of the founder of Sunrise Movement Palo Alto. Julia, welcome to Other Voices.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let me start here. What made you become a climate activist?
Well, I've always been aware of climate change and bothered by it.
Always?
Well, since I was since I was in third grade, I knew about the greenhouse effect, but not until last spring, when I heard about Fridays for Future, was I really aware of the movement, the climate movement. And I was really inspired to take action in my local community. And so on March 15th, I organized a group of 100 people, and we protested that day in solidarity with the global youth strike. And
what did you do?
We marched to Congresswoman Anna Eshoo's office.
Oh, good. Did you actually strike from school, or did you do this after school? And how was your school about it?
Well, I was really sad to hear that we didn't have school that day for another reason. But I think, so we protested, and I had a couple students from my school come, but it was mostly adults from Palo Alto.
Oh, good. And you marched over to Anna Eshoo's office, and did you get a chance to go in and talk to her?
Yes, we were able to talk to her. We crammed into her conference room, and we had a good conversation.
I've been in that conference room. 100 people do not fit in there.
Throughout the door.
Yeah. And were you satisfied with her answers?
It was right after the Dianne Feinstein, that video of students coming into her office.
Oh, yeah.
It went viral. And
where
so
she was not very polite.
Yes, she was very polite. She talked to us. She actually co-sponsored a carbon tax, and we were talking to her about that, supporting that and pushing for more green mobilization. And she, so I think there was a question about the Green New Deal. She didn't, at that point, wasn't very supportive of it. She said it was, I'm not quoting her on this, but I think she said it was aspirational, and so there still is more.
Way, but still.
Yes, definitely, but yeah.
She still is not signed on to the Green New Deal, is she?
I'm not sure currently, but at that point in time, I think she was unsure.
So coming up on September 20th, there will be a lot of actions locally for the global climate strike. I'll talk about what Peninsula Peace and Justice Center will be doing, but what about Sunrise Movement Palo Alto? What do you have planned for September 20th?
Yes, so locally in my school, Castellea, we're going to have a walkout that morning, and we're going to march and rally. Is school in session?
You actually get to go out and strike this time?
Yes.
All right.
So that's good. And we're going to march around campus, and a lot of schools in Santa Clara County and all over the world are going to be striking school and leaving. And it's going to be, Bill McKibben says, possibly the largest day of climate demonstration in history.
What do you hope will be the reaction to this? And I think it's good to emphasize that it's global. And I hadn't heard what McKibben said, but I think it has all the signs of being that. What would you hope to see the next morning or the next week after all the work you're putting into this for September 20th?
Yes, I would hope to see more people engaged and more people seeing that youth, adults, that everyone's rallying for this cause. And I hope that political leaders will see that their constituents really care about this, and that they will take the time to talk to them and to see what we have to say. And definitely regarding the protest that we had March 15th, there weren't very many students that came, and what I really want to do with my school, Castellea, is get more of them engaged. I think they're very smart students and they care about this issue, but we really need to show that our voices can be heard even though we can't vote.
Can't vote yet.
Yet, yes.
So how many people are active with Sunrise Movement Palo Alto that you've been able to put together here?
Yes, so a couple of weeks ago, we had our first meeting. We got about 35 people, and it was really successful. A lot of people were engaged and excited, and we're having our next meeting on Monday.
Okay, and how are you going about trying to attract people and get them engaged in this?
Yes, so we have social media, which we're using to post about the Sunrise Movement and other climate actions that are happening in the future. And also we have some students from Stanford, and they're doing outreach and recruiting people from their school. And
okay, and what I'm really interested in, you've had this awareness of global climate change since third grade. There's a lot of environmental groups out there, a lot of groups working on climate change. There's local groups here. There's Bill McKibben's group, 350, for example. What was it about Sunrise Movement that attracted you to that portion of the movement?
yeah, so I was really inspired by the actions that they did in Nancy Pelosi's office, the office takeovers, and I saw that they were really making a difference. That photo where Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was talking to the protesters.
In Pelosi's office,
yes,
on the first day of Congress. Yeah.
Yeah, I was inspired by what they were doing, and they were getting a lot of attention. And so this summer I did some more research and they have online training courses, and that's when I decided to start the hub.
Tell me a little bit more about the online training courses.
So
what did you learn?
So they're open to anybody. They're Zoom calls, and I learned the beginning of Sunrise and the foundation through the Sunrise 101 training course. And then we had a Western Regional Summit recently, where people all over the West Coast came to San Francisco and Berkeley, and we had different workshops talking about action planning and hub structure, and so I learned a lot there.
Well, so you went to that conference.
Yes.
Oh, cool. What workshop do you think you got the most out of?
I think a hub structure that really helped me think about how to organize teams within my hub so that there's not just 3 people doing everything, but that everyone's engaged and they have something to be a part of.
As a longtime organizer, I can tell you that's a real challenge. Constantly. I could always use some more training in that. And that's what you call it, hubs, right? And if you go to the Sunrise Movement website, which I think is just sunrisemvmnt.org, right?
Yes.
You can look up hubs, and the list is ever growing.
Yes, definitely.
Have you thought much beyond September 20th, what you hope to do locally with the Sunrise Movement, or are you kind of just focused on that one big action right now?
Well, on September 27th, we're working on promoting and publicizing a Naomi Klein event. She's going to be speaking in San Mateo, and we're going to be helping with that. And past that, in the upcoming strike, Sunrise is really focusing on, for the rest of this year, civil disobedience and mass non-cooperation. So they're planning more strikes. I believe the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are a lot that are coming up. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty to do.
Yes.
Okay, and I do want to mention one other thing you're going to be doing next Friday, September 20th, is speaking at the rally in the evening. The Peninsula Peace and Justice Center is sponsoring. That's on Friday, September 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Palo Alto City Hall, the site of so many Peace and Justice Center demonstrations over the years. And I hope there's a big crowd there, and I hope people will join us there. We only have a few more minutes left, but I'm wondering if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask Julia, or just encouragement to pass on. Do we still have the mic around? Oh, she left the mic behind. So, you did this one meeting with Anna Eshoo where you kind of marched over there. Have you tried to set up anything more formal with her, like ask for an appointment and go in and express things? What do you hope to do with Congress as non-voters?
So with our hub, I think something we were talking about was creating a Green New Deal coalition. So gathering local businesses and organizations together in support of green solutions, such presented in the Green New Deal, and sort of making Palo Alto a really green city and an example for other cities around here, and maybe bringing this coalition and this to our local representatives.
All right. That sounds really good. Okay, so we've got if you could stand up if it's not too much of a problem.
No problem.
Good.
Yeah. Julia, I'm just really impressed with you because I think at your age I really wasn't involved in social issues very much, not really until I got into college, but I didn't have models. I think if I had models that were my age, my peers, I would have gotten involved for sure. And I think that's one thing you're doing for your peers and for us too. We can encourage young people to get involved with the Sunrise movement. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Was Greta Thunberg a particular inspiration to you, or was it more the Sunrise activists, or just a combination of all these things coming together? Or?
Definitely Greta Thunberg and Alexandria Villaseñor. Them striking, that really set off an idea for me. I was thinking about maybe writing something, or I didn't know how to put, where to put my emotions and how to actually create action, but they inspired me, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good. Any other questions or encouragement from our audience here? Okay. Well, I guess one thing I wanted to ask you, I take it you haven't met Greta yet?
No, I have not.
Do you hope to someday?
Yes, definitely.
So, what are you going to talk about next Friday at the Peace and Justice Center's rally? Have you written your speech yet?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Well, about the climate crisis and the urgency of this issue, and that we, not just the youth, but everyone who we care about this issue, and that our voices can be heard, and we just need to put them out there and show that we care.
Okay, I am looking forward to hearing you. I'm going to be at that rally again. It's the September 20th Global Climate Strike March and Rally here in Palo Alto, 6 to 8 p.m. at Palo Alto City Hall. That's at 250 Hamilton Avenue. And our new executive director, Julia Zeitlin, will be kicking things off. Are you going to march first? I forget the order of things. So a short march through downtown, down University Avenue, and back to Palo Alto City Hall for some speeches, including our wonderful guest here, Julia Zeitlin. And also, as of today, I'm really glad to be able to say that Chris Field, who was the chair of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change for the United Nations, he chaired the science panel for the Paris Agreement. He's been a guest on this program a couple of times. We'll be speaking at that rally on September 20th, along with beloved local environmental activist Debbie Meitels. So get yourselves down there, 6 to 8 p.m. on September 20th at Palo Alto City Hall. Julia Zeitlin, thank you for being an activist, and keep it up, and we'll see you again in a couple of years, or
Thank
next
you.
year or something like that. Good luck.
Thank you.